you don't realize until well after the fact is that if we didn't just lose everything, we almost died. I asked myself, why didn't I pack more things? And I remember walking in the backyard, just like you go to that deep, like survival instinct. I'm just staring at this mountain of smoke going, what is happening here? Is this coming down? Do I need to get my family out of here? I haven't heard anything. There's been no warning, but everything in my senses is telling me that this is not going to go well. That we need to get out of here.
The Bridge of Foothills fire exploded on September 5th when temperatures climbed into the mid-90s and winds out of the west gusted beyond 25 miles an hour. Burning more than 8,200 acres, a total of 68 structures were destroyed, including 28 homes, one of which belonged to the McElgunn family. This incredible family is sharing their story of survival, community, and building again after the fire.
My name's Rick McElgunn.
I'm Brianna.
Son Tommy, who's now 14, and our daughter Sylvan, who's 11. We've been in Bozeman full-time since 2001.
And I've been in a private practice naturopathic medical clinic.
I help with the business side of hers and start my own restaurant consulting business. It's a service industry driven town. Brianna found what I tell people was likely the last property we could have ever bought in Bridger Canyon. We never thought we would live up there. 4 acres, and it was an older 74, I think.
75.
75 was the year the house was built, but it's a functional, simple, just ranch style house that fit us. But ultimately, we have to have a conversation about these forests that surround our communities, because there's so much pine beetle and deadfall. There's unlimited combustible material in that forest.
Wow.
We've had fires around Bozeman. We've had fires that came close to getting to houses, but never one that actually ran over a community.
So the day that actually the smoke started was on Friday, September 4th. We got a text from our friend Travis, who's our farmer, because we have a market farm on our property. So he was up there farming and said, hey, I see smoke, the farm is fine. The kids, they were with friends. I was at my office doing paperwork. So I said, well, I'll shoot home and, double check that everything looks good. And there was already a highway patrol person there directing people away from traveling that highway to get up the canyon to my house. Like, this is being taken serious. And so I got home. Travis was there. I mean, everything was fine. We could see the little wisp of smoke coming up, but nothing being threatened. I had texted my kids as friends and said, hey, can the kids spend the night just in case, something changes with this? And I had packed a little bit of things in a duffel bag and got out the cat carriers. I was over at our neighbor's house, Deb and Brian, and we sat in their driveway and drank a beer and, talked about, it looks like it's good.
And got up the next day and it was smoke, but it looked like a cloud. It wasn't burning intensely. Around 12, I told my son, hey, let's hop in the truck. We'll go up to Jackson Creek. There's a bench where you can get a good look at the end of the Bridgers, and took a spotting scope and a pair of binoculars. And the helicopters were doing their thing. We could see flames crowning, but it hadn't really left that nose yet. We even saw a fire crew with a truck driving around the neighborhood. Yeah. And, looking at it like as the crow flies, it's probably 7 miles.
Yeah.
Between that spot and our spot. Told my son, we just have to make it till Monday. There's, forecasted snow, rain, cold weather. Around 12:30, and just had a late lunch, and we're hanging out at the house. Now they were flying over our house to access water up canyon. About 1:30, I was in my room. And I had the window open. The smoke's getting stronger, but then I started hearing the wind, and I was literally like, oh shit. I walked through the living room past my son who's playing Minecraft. I'm like, okay, the wind just picked up. This could get interesting. I think we really need to, let's start loading stuff up. And the 151 was the big plumes. And then by like 210, and the smoke was getting super intense. But you can't see the Bridger Ridge from our house. There's a sub-ridge. So everything behind that is burning. And then I go to start the pickup truck with the camper, and battery's dead. So I'm real quick loading it into the 4Runner and got the duffel bags in, 2 dogs and 2 cats and a rabbit, and left behind the turkeys and the ducks and the chickens. Tommy hadn't put away his laundry in like a week and a half. So we had a big laundry basket of folded laundry. He put his Xbox,
his pillow and his
blanket, and he grabbed the pictures from the hallway. And I just put my hands on her shoulders and just follow me. We do not get separated.
I believe you were screaming that at me. Stay on my tail. Do not get separated. Really important.
Between the wind and the smoke, by then the noise was already, you could hear the fire coming. And the sheriff had just gone ripping past us up the gravel road to the houses above us.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's got to be an evacuation order, Brianna. I don't think that's got to be. He's moving too hot. One of the last things I remember seeing is like looking uphill was just blacked out with smoke. You couldn't see anything. But the sub ridge, suddenly the outline of that just started to glow orange. The smoke being underlit from fire.
Okay, so this is the smoke that's settling into our backyard from the fire and the wind shifting. We are evacuating to a safe house on the Spring Hill side of the Bridgers. All right, we're off to safety.
And we had to leave the driveway and go south toward the fire to get to Jackson Creek. It was a mile away.
How was your son, so he's in the car before you guys?
He's sitting there in the passenger seat, just stoic. So I hop in and start the engine, and I'm like, we're getting out of here, buddy. And as we go to turn on the canyon, I hand him my camera. I said, take pictures of the house, maybe the last time we see it. Mm-hmm. At the same time, Brianna is just screaming in the truck when she tells me later, just
screaming like my house is burning down. And then I'd remember to focus and then stay close to Rick. Because I'm in the vehicle with all the pets, vacillating between hyper-focused and then having a meltdown. I saw our neighbor's house on fire. I saw the smoke.
But I don't think our house was there more than 10 minutes after we got out of there. It was wind. The grass didn't burn. We have a tree in the backyard. It burned, singed brown the needles without catching fire. The wind was so hot. Our house burned so hot, the metal siding slid down like he had stacked it. So we turn left and we see the firefighter. The next people we see are sightseers. I remember seeing a gray-haired couple in a convertible with the top down driving towards the fire, towards our house.
Coming up canyon to watch it like a drive-in movie.
We pulled over and we're standing there just huddled together in a family hug and just...
I can't even see our house anymore. It's gonna burn down.
There was no mountain range left. It was just smoke, but it was this river of violent smoke of every different color, and you couldn't see flame, but you could hear flame. They said that the fires were crowning 100 feet over the trees, that embers were being pushed a mile ahead of the fire and starting spot fires. The wind burned our house. Our neighbor Brian found chunks of embers, huge chunks of embers that had flown through the air, been propelled on fire. Every house in the neighborhood that burned just disappeared.
Yeah, they just disintegrated into it was so hot.
And then after a couple hours, it just stopped. And by evening, you wouldn't even know there had been a fire.
Did they let you guys back in the next morning?
We took 2 vehicles thinking we were going to evacuate our belongings. To say it's all gone just doesn't give it a full appreciation of the immediacy of it's all gone. And then
I don't know what to do.
Our house is gone.
They don't have any food, but they have water.
Our whole house burned down. Everything. We lost everything.
And then the birds. The birds are alive.
We had one chicken who followed me and yelled at me. They were so mad because their bird shed burned down. Within a week or two, going specifically to sort through ashes, I had this moose jewelry that the kids and Rick had given me for Christmas last year. And in the spring, when COVID was so overwhelmingly, unfamiliar and intense, I wore that moose jewelry as a reminder of it's going to be okay. And I dug a little bit more, and then I saw the chain on the jewelry, and I bent down to pick it up, and I said, I found it. And I just cried. The fact that I have this and it survived the fire, and it's our story, with all the challenges that we've had with insurance and finding rental housing and just COVID on top of this. It was just that one little, okay, this I'm going to hold on to as a family. I mean, collectively, we are all invested in that moose jewelry. The tears are just going to bubble up. And as I say to the kids, when the tears come out, that means love can replace those tears in our hearts. We've gotten closer as a family. We are more supportive as a family. I'm so proud of our kids and how they've been able to still be kids despite this being part of our story now. If we can make it through this, our kids are literally going to be fireproof.
The insurance company, they expect you to have pictures of all your possessions. I don't. I have pictures of all our adventures.
We've been together 25 years. 25 years of your life gets turned to ashes, and then it gets hauled away in a dump truck.
I went up the day the excavator started, My daughter and I planted a bunch of wildflower seeds, and I've got video of the first claw that picked up my house with the flowers in the bottom of the video. But just the sound of that excavator picking up that first pile of your house, lifting it up and putting it in the back of a
dump truck. Because our insurance was insufficient, with the cost of building in Bozeman, with COVID affecting the cost of materials and the availability of building materials, all of the money that we've received in donations, insurance, is going directly to build a house.
You have these mixed feelings of, man, the hurt of losing everything, but yeah, you still gotta be thankful that you're alive. You forget to be thankful for that. I spent 48 years of my life refusing help, and I guess what this taught me is to ask for help.
There are amazing humans across this planet.
It is about your children, right? Being able to recreate your life in a way that their futures are not in the balance of
and that becomes a positive. They have a lot of years left. I don't want something that happened to them at this age to be something that is a dark spot for them.
A dark moment, but a bright sunrise on new days.
I encourage all who can to donate or to find another way to support those across the country still struggling to recover from the loss of their homes this year. I am so inspired by Rick and Brianna's positivity and enduring love in the face of tragedy. This year has tested us all, but I believe that the power of community and love will help see us through.